Hi, I'm Rosa Reich, and I've had over 22 years experience with the Homeless Coalition, working both with the local government as well as several nonprofits in our community. And how I got involved with Community of Hope began in the spring of 2004. At that point, I'd been running the Homeless Coalition for a couple of years through the county as a planner. And I received a call one day from a staff member of Holy Name of Jesus, and they had asked me to come to meet with Father Page, the deacons, and a few other people at this new concept they had for a homeless shelter. At that time in Brevard County, most of our shelters were geared for either women with children, or if you were a veteran, or if you were male, substance abuse issues. There's not a single place really if you were a single dad with children, or if you were an intact family. North Brevard Charities Sharing Center did have some transitional housing, but it was clear up in Titusville, and while they did a wonderful job, it just could not meet the needs of the community. So many families at that time had to choose. If they were intact, does the father then go live in the car in the woods while the mother and children are in shelter, or do they stay together for the mental health of the children? Tough decisions for those families. Well, Deacon Seidel had heard of a program in Volusia County called Family Renews Community, where priest several years earlier had gotten together with a number of churches and purchased a motel, and each of those congregations supported a family in each of the rooms, and it was a wonderful concept. Father Page liked the idea, and hence why the meeting was convened. The initial meeting that I was invited to took place on a Friday of Lent, and present was Father Page, Deacon Jim Seidel, a few other clergy of Holy Name Jesus, Rita Elkins. She was the Florida newspaper religious column editor, and I believe she might have been working for United Way at that time. And one of my peers from the county, Jason, who was working in the CDBG program. We listened to the concept. We really liked the idea. It was something that was desperately needed here in Brevard County. So I went back to the county, I spoke to my supervisors, the assistant county manager, and we were able then to get a couple of vans together, and we took people up to Volusia County to review that program and bring that model back to Brevard County. Just to backtrack a little bit, these were members of churches that Marion Cacciatore, who was officially the first executive director that I know of for Community of Hope, what became Community of Hope at that time, it was just an idea. She had already reached out to several churches and community leaders in Brevard County. So we took 2 van loads, beautiful concept, brought back. It was very exciting. I had already done my piece, and I stepped away. Well, a month or 2 later, Marion called me back and said, "Rosa, we need some guidance on a few things." So I came back, and from that point on through the first several years of formation, I became the technical advisor for Community of Hope, from how to form a 501c3, talk about fair housing, funding, grant writing, and so forth. Just at the point they were becoming a 501c3, they had an opportunity to get a house that was owned by Holy Trinity on Elizabeth Street. And a couple of years earlier, I had helped the Women's Center, through a grant, acquire and rehab 2 houses on Elizabeth Street to house homeless women and children. And talking to the then Executive Director, George Taylor, he was the Executive Director of Community of Hope, when we discussed how was Community of Hope going to proceed, how they were going to get funding, and I explained to them, I said, you need experience. Nobody's going to give you money unless you've got some experience. So he said, we've got this house. Okay. So I called up Women's Center. I said, hey, this is what's going on. And they said, perfect. We've got a mother and children that have timed out, but she's going to BCC. She's finished her certificate. So they made an agreement. The mother and children moved into the house that was now being run by Community of Hope. Women's Center continued the case management while Community of Hope managed the housing. Shortly after that, the county put out a request for proposal for funding. And because of that experience that Community of Hope now had, they applied for funding, were awarded the funding, and that became the beginning of the acquisition of other properties and your rental properties here for the Community of Hope. And so it was a wonderful event, and it was such a needed program here in Brevard County. And the beautiful thing about Community of Hope is it provides that network for families, with dads and children, because so many times they were ignored and neglected in our community. And it wasn't just Brevard County. This was actually a national thing with all the literature I read. But this program provided that. Some of these families don't have a family network to fall back into, so Community of Hope became their family and helped them get back on their feet. Community of Hope is going strong, and I see really good things going on with Community of Hope. You have a great support system. It is a network of faith communities. It is truly an ecumenical program that serves everybody where they are and where they need to go. With the current plans for acquiring other properties and doing community land trusts and other programs, these are needed things. They're innovative things in Brevard County, and Community of Hope has been the leader, if not really recognized in our community. They really have been a leader in some of these programs in the county, and they're sort of the unsung heroes of what they're doing here. I really foresee some really good things. It's going to keep blossoming, and I just can't see it stopping anytime soon. And I really, really continue to pray and wish the success for Community of Hope going forward.